Hey,
Hey,
hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Nakia Franklin,
and I'm Von Greta
and welcome to this episode of The Real,
and Raw Talk Show.
where there are no boundaries.
And no judgments.
Hey, y'all. We are at episode 21, and it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we want you to know that the contents of this episode is not for the faint at heart. It's not for
Mm-mm.
your child who is a minor, and it is not for your child who is a minor, and it is not for those that are not mature enough to
Right.
understand the dynamics of abuse, trauma, and what it causes, can
Sure.
look like, or feel like. I needed to really make sure, sis, that I had that right so people can get it right. So
Good.
we ask that all adults who are responsible in any capacity for any child, teen, or person who is not yet mentally or emotionally able to engage in such conversation avoid doing so. We are clear that even some adults may be advised not to view this episode to ensure that they are not triggered by the conversations we are about to have with our amazing guests. We do ask that you be responsible for your own well being, mental health, and be proactive in accessing any support system that you have or medical professionals before viewing this episode. And if you choose to do so, please consult someone, have a conversation with anyone immediately after if there's anything that triggers you or brings up anything that concerns you. Now, we're going to engage in this real and raw conversation and ask that you never be afraid to seek out any medical professional, psychiatrist, psychological, or support group, law enforcement, a hotline, or qualified professional of any level for any of your needs. We will have numbers scrolling at the bottom of our screen for you to reach out to resources for assistance, and these numbers are not all inclusive. There are people and companies locally that can support you, but we always try to do our part. Mongretta and I are not medical professionals. We do not represent ourselves to be that, and we are not qualified to provide any medical advice or recommendations. We can tell you to seek medical professional assistance and help. That we can do. Our guest has voluntarily chosen to come onto our platform to share her personal experiences, speak of her foundation that provides support, resources, and information for those who may choose to overcome domestic violence. In this episode 21, Bruised but Not Broken.
Absolutely. And again, we ask that you avoid having minors exposed to this conversation. Your children are your children. I would have exposed my children at an early age, and I did, just because that was my choice. But we really want you to take that seriously when we say watch it. Okay. The episode is for any woman or man who has in the past, well, now that they are, okay, in the past, or they are newly having experiences in any relationship where violence of any form is present or experienced. Some
Mhm.
of us choose not to share our closest secrets and are there in fear. We may cry out, and we may be in need of help to get free from the dangers that we face daily. Finally, there are those who have yet to accept what the reality is for them, and what they're facing. We never know how far a person is willing to go to control the life, freedom, and liberties of another human being. Many women and men survive. Many remain controlled by the trauma, and for others, they have lost their lives, no matter what efforts they have put forth to leave, stay, or compromise.
Absolutely, indeed. A lot of people like to keep secrets in the closet, sis.
True,
So
because
it's
they're
very
scared.
difficult sometimes. Absolutely. So let's be clear. Let us really be clear that domestic violence and violence of any form, there are various types of abuse, right?
Absolutely.
This includes and is not limited to physical, mental, emotional, financial, and social abuse. It can look like anything that controls, is physical, sexual, emotional, and or intimidating, isolating, and can be verbal abuse, can be coercion, can be threats, can be blame, using male privilege. And I'm gonna even go out on a limb and say female privilege too,
Do it.
depending on
Yes.
the situation or economic status, and economic abuse. Now, we obtained this information from acesdv.org, which one of them is Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence, and womenagainst.abuse.org, which is Women Against Abuse organization. Within these websites, you can find information that is specific and that will clearly define each type of abuse, and also provides resources for those who desire them. And trust me, again, it's resources all over the world. These are just two resources that we chose. Our intentions with this episode, number 21, is to cause you to take action in your life, the lives of the ones that you love, and even someone you may encounter. We want you to be able to identify the signs and seek
Sure.
help immediately and safely. Create a plan and please survive. There is always somebody looking out for you, and there is always somebody ready to acknowledge your need and acknowledge the need of others. So be a blessing, sis.
Thank you so much, Nakia. Well, in other news, we have a wonderful musician joining us again. I thought this would be a wonderful episode to bring back Raul Blanco and his Jazz Wires. That performance was raved about, and I thought it would be very good for what we have going on here. So, look, you guys, now it's time to get real and raw. Deuces. So we want to hear from you, right? So do our guests want to hear from you. So please take a minute, to just a few seconds, to go to www.streamyard.com/Facebook to grant StreamYard access to see your comments. Stick around, ask questions, share this everywhere. We never know who's going through, and this is prevalent. This is the real pandemic, as well. So start your own watch party, text somebody, call them real quick, and tell them that we're doing this show and we're getting ready to enter into a for real no
judgment zone. Sis, I'll be in the background.
I will be back there with you.
Right. I love the new intro. I just love being able to just look back at all the episodes that we've done and the guests that we've had on. Each
Absolutely.
of the episodes. This is like phenomenal. Episode 21, sis, it's been
Right.
almost
21.
a
Can you
year.
imagine?
Right,
Oh my
almost a year,
God.
and this is like totally amazing. And we thank all of our guests. We thank all of our watchers, viewers, listeners, audience, those that chime in, good, bad, indifferent. It don't even matter. We appreciate you, like for real.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
um,
It's not easy, but it's been rewarding though. And I'm
yes,
proud of the content that we put out into the world. I just want to
yes,
say that.
awesome.
We are like really jumping off the cliff of faith here. Because it's
Amen,
not just
girl.
anything. So
Yes.
anyway,
Thank
anyway.
you so very much. So let's jump into this conversation because we have a lot to talk about, and we have this
Yes, we do.
amazing, beautiful woman
Extremely
that is,
beautiful.
has chosen to be a part of this episode and talk about life, her experiences, and what she does today, and how she got from where she was to where she is right now. So let's jump into this so we can have this conversation with Miss Valerie Lewis and find out who she
Welcome
is.
tonight. Hey,
Hey!
Valerie.
Oh
You
my
need that
God.
feel beautiful.
Yes. And
Thank
I
you.
just want to make note that we're all wearing purple. This is Domestic Violence Month. It also is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But we definitely wanted to represent and pay homage and show support for all those that are and have experienced domestic violence. Okay. So,
Absolutely.
Miss Valerie, let's
Yes.
talk about before the bruising. Yeah, I said that one. So, so she is the founder of the nonprofit organization You Don't Have to Cry Alone in Silence. Valerie, can you share with our audience a bit about who you are, a bit about your background, where you're from, and when did you come to Houston? Because we want people to know who you are.
Well, my name is Valerie Lewis. Like she said, I'm originally from New Jersey, Orange, New Jersey. I was born and raised there. I came to Houston at the age of 24. I came here, it was a reason why I came here to Houston. My mother's sister lived here. I came here. I stayed here for a year, decided to stay because I love Houston. And so I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I have two beautiful grown women. I have a granddaughter and soon to be grandson that's coming in May.
Yay.
And I'm excited about that. And also, I was in the medical field. I used to do all different kind of things from doctor's office to insurance during that time. I also do multi-level marketing. I'm with a company called Total Life Changes. I absolutely co-authored a book and wrote a little bit about my story. And also now I have a nonprofit organization. And what my nonprofit organization does is I'm really animate about people knowing the signs of domestic violence. And so my mission is to bring awareness, to let people know what the signs are, what to look for. So even when they're in the beginning stages of their relationship, they can be alert of the signs of domestic violence. But also what my organization do, we provide things for women or men who are moving into a new facility, trying to establish, have self-sufficiency. So we help them with their necessities, whether it's cleaning supplies, whether it's, toiletries, whether it's clothes, or whether it's, a gift card for food. Also, we may do some furniture, just depending on what their needs are at that time when they move into a new home to start a new life. So that's what we do.
And these are individuals that have been in domestic violence situations that are transitioning. These are not just any, it's not just any individual. These are specifically tailored for that niche market of survivors that need help. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're clear because you have no idea. People to be like, oh girl, let me what's up, foundation name? Let me call her up, girl. I need some furniture today. Girl, COVID been hard. So we ain't talking
Yes,
about
yes,
those, okay? So we talking
yes,
about individuals that have been in domestic violence experiences and situations that are trying to transition out
right,
and have been able to separate themselves completely, Lord say the same, from their abusers and go into a new life. Okay,
correct.
moving forward. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. Where is your foundation located? And can you share with us your well, basically you shared the mission and the vision. So where's your foundation located?
Well, I'm actually in the Fort Bend area in Rosenberg, Texas. Right now, I'm working out of the section of my office of my home. I'm looking to expand my business into a standalone building. So right now it's in Rosenberg, Texas, and that's exactly where it's at.
Okay, awesome. So your website is flashing across the screen, so therefore they'll be able to reach out to you via website and have the contact information in that retrospect as well. Is there a particular section that you're looking for to locate a building or a facility?
Well, I'm praying to God and asking Him to lead the way for me to make sure I'm in the right section and area of town where I could actually be, my organization could really help the community and really be a major part. So I'm just asking God to guide me. And so I've been kind of driving around, looking around. And so hopefully, shortly, I will be able to find that facility.
Okay, awesome. Well, you never know how God blesses people, so we would definitely want to put that out there in the space. If anyone comes across any piece of land, building, property, or however that may be suitable, and God put it on their hearts and in their spirits to reach out to you and just let you know, because you never know, uh, uh, what's the mega church right there on 59 that I
Joel, Joel.
Joel Osteen that I love to watch. We can't say his name right now. God bless them and work through it. So, can you enlighten our audience by sharing what are some of the early warning signs that someone, whether male or female, may be experiencing that they would need to pay attention to? That may be trigger signs or maybe something that is they need to pay, red flags.
Well, a lot of time, when we get in relationships, we're in that happy moment, right? Because we met somebody, we happy, we always put on our best in the beginning, right?
Absolutely.
And so what starts to happen is sometimes because we're so excited about the relationship and we're excited about, that individual, they start giving little signs that we typically wouldn't really pay attention to because we're still in that happy moment. So it might get to a point where, he may start calling you, or he or she may start calling you a lot, maybe 3-4 times a day. And they start the phone conversation and they're calling saying, hey, I missed you. I just wanted to hear your voice, and then the second time, if you don't answer, then they'll call you back the third time, maybe a couple of hours later. And then when you pick up the phone, they say, hey, you know what? I've been calling you. What was you doing? You didn't answer the phone. What was you doing? And so now, being that the relationship is fresh, they're already starting the aggressiveness. And so sometimes you can see the pattern in the text messaging, the way that they text. Sometimes text messaging is always kind of hard to decipher because people get, could read a message and then take it very offensive. But sometimes when they overly are texting you, they texting you constantly, then you start having the little verbal abuse. They may start, saying little things to you about how you look, about how you weight. You look like you're starting to gain a lot of weight. You start not to look right. They may aggressively start, belittling you. They may start isolating you. They may always want to spend time with you all the time. They don't want you to hang out with your girlfriends, or they may not want you to, you might have this favorite mom or aunt or a family member or friends that you like to hang out with. Then they start trying to tell you, well, I want to spend time with you. You don't never want to spend time with me. You always want to do something with your girlfriends. So now he's starting to manipulate you. And so, You start noticing that, and then you start questioning yourself. Well, I really have been spending a lot of time or talking on the phone a lot with my girls. I probably need to start showing him some attention. I am starting to slack. So now he's doubting. Now he's have you questioning yourself. And so even sometime in the midst of aggression, of grabbing or, talking to you, he may snatch you or pull you when he's angry. And so those type of little things start once, but then you may notice it starts being a pattern. And then when it starts being a pattern, then those red signs and those red flags should pop up. So if you know the signs early, then you can say, you know what, this ain't right. And then when they start talking about, when he starts sharing about his family, how he may start saying, you know what, I was the black sheep, or, I was the one that they mistreated all the time. And, they never really, my brothers and sisters never really did like me. My mom showed favoritism to my other brothers and sisters, and they never showed it to me. So then he started blaming his family and friends and start doing all those different kind of things he started being the victim. So he made himself be the victim so you could play and start feeling sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, Valerie. I just wanted to put a pin right there just because I'm over. I know I have a smile on my face. It's not that I think that this is a laughing matter, but I'm laughing because I'm laughing at the devil, because it's almost like this is just what they do. There's nothing new under the sun, right? Every abuser makes themselves out to be the victim so you can feel sorry for them, because that breaks your walls down and you feel like you can now try to help them and become their savior, right? Correct. And so when you don't match up, that's when it starts messing with your head and your mental abuse, and you're backed into a wall you don't know you're in, right? Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to just jump in there with you and not let that just whisk on by, because that's the first part of the manipulation that you ever wonder how I took over Tina. It's that mind game first. And I just wanted to stop there. So that's very clear, because if you cannot let that happen to you, the rest will not follow, right?
Exactly.
Please continue.
Exactly. And so he'll start blaming you for a lot of things that he did, but he's going to make it seem as though it's because of you. That's why I'm doing this. It's because you said this to me, or you did this to me, or you made me act like this. And so still it's the mind game. And so, even like the Bible, you got to protect your mind. The Bible talks about the mind, the power, of the mind. And guess what? The mouth. The Bible talks about its power in the mouth. Mm-hmm. Right. So when you speak forth, it affects. When somebody hurts your feelings, right? Or, your girlfriend may have done something. She said something that affects you. So what do? You're going to approach your girlfriend, right? So if it's a guy that you're dating and he's steadily just throwing darts at you, belittling you, breaking you, saying you're ugly, saying, and he's going to make it seem as though he's the best, since like Fred, like you can't get nobody better than him. That he is the only one for you, that he is the only one that's going to help you take care of your 2 kids or your 1 kid. No other man's going to want nobody who has kids.
Mm-hmm.
So they start saying those things to you. And so then you start looking at him like he's your knight in shining armor, like he's your savior. Yeah, you're right. It ain't too many men that really want kids, that already have kids. And so now you're questioning yourself. Now you start to question yourself. And so once he realized, or she realized, that they got you mentally, because all they have to do is just see that little open window, that little open window of insecurity, that little open window, then they got you, baby. They got you.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Valerie, because that was a lot of great, amazing, awesome information. And, that's where it begins. And when you were sharing that, I mean, so much resonated with me. So much was familiar to me in those different experiences and situations, things that I have personally experienced myself. It's no secret of the things that I've dealt with and went through. It goes back. What I heard was boundaries. you have to train people. And I had a conversation with a young man today at a job. It's like you got to train people with how you expect to be treated. Because if you allow people to say things to you and to dictate when you're going to take a lunch, okay, you required to take a lunch, you get an hour lunch every day or 30 minutes lunch every day. Why are you not taking your lunch? Mm-hmm. They feel like they can dictate your surroundings, your peers, people that you're dating, feel like they can dictate every single thing that you do, every step that you take, all of that. And it's okay. Well, if you allow that once or twice, and then you allow that 3 or 4 times, and if it's consistent, they keep taking opportunities. They keep testing the water, just like kids. Kids are going to test the water and see how far they can go. They're going to keep doing the same crap over and over again. And if you don't do something different, then they're going to still do that same crap. And it's just going to grow and expound, right? Well, if you don't set boundaries, and if you don't stop people and put them in their place, so to speak, and let them know what you're willing to accept and not willing to accept, then you are teaching that individual that is an acceptable behavior to have towards you. That is an acceptable behavior that I am okay with you talking to me any kind of way. You calling me a bitch. Mm-hmm. You disrespecting me. You pulling on me. You jacking on me. You telling me I can't spend time with my families. And we spending time, you practically live with me. We spending time all together. But I'm spending too much time with my family. I only see them on holidays and birthdays and special events. Come on now, quit tripping. So we're not setting boundaries, and those are internal things, and that might be self-esteem things, that it's something else that is going on that causes us to do those things and allow that into our space, and we have to be healed on the inside. So thank you so very much, Valerie. I don't want to stay in my, because I can have this conversation on after show, after party, baby, but we got to get down to the nitty gritty. So we can get down with what you have to share about your personal experiences. And I know we're going in. Yes, baby. I know we on a scratch the surface, but this episode is so intentional. We're gonna dive deep. And
so should we go ahead and get to the commercial,
soon as I finish my sentence. Soon as I finish my sentence, I love you. So I was gonna say, stay tuned. Please post your questions. Thank you so very much for sharing, Valerie. Vaughn, over to you. I love her.
I'm just trying to help you out.
The whole next segment. You're gonna be talking for the next 25 minutes. Girl,
I'm actually not. Valerie is.
I love you.
I ain't got time. I got to fight every night to prove my love.
Every day.
You can't even appreciate that joke.
I'm setting boundaries right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you to our musical guest for tonight. His name is Raul Blanco.
Horrible.
And Jazz Wires. Hey, you guys know this is a really amazing clip, and I'm going to stop talking because he's going to introduce it to you. Enjoy. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Raul Blanco, and I'm a Cuban pianist, and it's a real pleasure for me to be here today in this show to share a little bit of my music. And the song I'm sharing with you today is Brutal Fairy Tale from my 3rd jazz album with my band Jazz Wires. And this story is about a girl who was trapped into a mind prison with a guy who seduced her, and he was evil, and he kind of just made her turn evil just like him. And then the video is a little bit like a movie, like a theatrical thing, where there are marionettes and there are scenes on the snow running, trying to escape from that reality, but at the end she's trapped, and she gets influenced by his evil presence, so she turns just like him, and then she starts doing that to other people. So it's the message of the song is it's actually what you are trying to avoid in life, right? Just try to get rid of those bad influence of bad people who just try to destroy you and what you are. So yeah, that's the meaning of the song, and it's called Brutal Fairy Tale because it's that dream that sometimes you have, and then when you get to it, it's not what you were expecting to be. So yeah, that's the song. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure for me to share my music with you.
Melancholy, the story of my love. How could I believe that fantasy that led me to my fall? I dreamed of fairy tales, illusions, charming princes and romance. But now the impossible, I can't get out, was nightmare he designed. A magic castle in the sky, a big enchanted tale. The fantasies I hoped I had, my fairy tale is fake. He got so deep inside my dreams, he lured me to his spell. The more I try, I can't escape this brutal fairy tale. You're brutal, baby. Vanished and fainted, here I live trapped in my imagination. I turned to darkness, all of my soul hastily gave up all sensation. For all the beauty that he painted had too large a price. For answers now I have to pay, my turning in my life. Lost in his world, faded, broken, running, fearing he will find me. A magic castle in the sky, a big enchanted tale. The fantasy I hope I had, my fairy tale is fake. He got so deep inside my dreams, he chained me to the sun. The more I try, I can't escape. The more I try, I can't escape. The more I try, I can't escape this little fairy tale. His world faded, broken, running, fearing, finding, lost, faded, broken, running, fearing, he will find me.
I love that because I know his accent was so thick, so it was difficult to understand for some. But the name of it is Brutal Fairy Tale, and it is all about how you can get ensnared in something, and you have to work to get out of it, right? So that's why I thought it correlated very well with this show.
Awesome.
Okay, all right, sis. So let's get down with it, Valerie. So let me prepare you. We're gonna get deep, and I want you to have the space to be as vivid as you want to be. You can share how much or how little of whatever you want to share, based on the questions that I'll ask you. So what I'd like to know is, I want to just dive in the deep end. Okay, when did you realize that you were in an abusive relationship? Because you told us the steps. But clearly you didn't see the steps, because any sane person, for the most part, will pull back if they realize something bad is happening. So when did you, what happened that made you say, I'm in something bad? Not the thing that made you leave, the thing that made you say, I'm in something bad.
It took a long time for me to really realize that I was in something bad, because I was so in love. And I was so really feeling though that I can actually change him. And I felt as though being the supportive wife, so it probably had got to, I would say, right after I had my baby.
Okay.
About 2 weeks. She was probably about 2 weeks old. And even prior before that, he was abusive. And 2 weeks after I had my baby, I thought that he would have changed, because he was going to be a dad for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't. It didn't change. He was still the ignorant bastard that he always was being. And so at that moment, after I had my baby for 2 weeks and it got home and from the hospital, and my uncle wanted to fly in to see the baby, mm-hmm. and to see how I was doing. And he mm-hmm. said that your uncle could not come here, nor could he stay here. And I didn't want your uncle here. And you were been screwing your uncle when you was younger. And so after that, I realized, I said, you know what? I've been a fool, and he's been abusing me all that time. Even though before I was going through all that, I didn't have the aha moment and realistically for me, until after I had my baby, until after he said that.
That conversation was the one that made you say, my uncle can't see my baby? What is this? That's what made you think about it. Well, let me ask you this then. So you're married. Did you ever have that kind? And I know you're a Christian woman. Did you ever have that time where you said, "Oh, I'm locked into my vows"? Did you vows? Did you feel trapped by your vow, by your commitment to God?
You know, I did feel that way, because I took the word submissive to a whole different level. I didn't think about submissive being abusive. I was thinking of being very submissive to my husband, being there for my husband. I felt as though he was going through some things. Like I said, he was telling me how bad his family was treating him. So I thinking he was a scorned man and that I could help him. And by me being the praying woman and, sticking by my husband's side, I was really being there for him, even though in the midst that he was doing what he was doing. But I took mm-hmm. that word submissive to be submissive and be there for him, even though I was going through the abuse.
Well, we're going to put a pin in the word submissive, because I have a question regarding that. But first, I'm going to hop over that and ask you, so now that we know what my uncle can't come visit me, that made you say, okay, this is bad. I can't be here. So now what was the catalyst to say, this is enough, I'm out, and I won't be in this ever again?
Well, even during that time, because I was raised in a 2-family household, I still was trying to remain in a 2-family household with the mom and the dad. And mm-hmm. so even though I knew that at that time he was abusive, I was like, you know what? But I still had that hope. I still had that hope, as crazy as it may sound. I still had that hope. And what came to realization after he said that after I said I had enough is when he actually tried to kill me.
Okay.
When he actually tried to kill me, that's when I said I had enough, because I said, Lord, either he's going to kill me or I'm going to kill him.
Right. Because that's where you get to, right? If
Yes.
you get so fed up and in fear that you feel like you almost have to make the move yourself, because there is no way you can be out unless this person does not breathe.
Yeah, because he wasn't going to let me go anywhere. He wasn't letting me go.
Okay. And then there was an angel that came. Do you want to quickly tell us about that, or do you want to leave that out for now? We can, because I can move on.
I don't have a problem sharing it. And
can you tell us about your angel?
Yes. And so we were coming from a party, and still at that time, I was still new in Houston. I really didn't know Houston, because Houston is such a big city. And so we was coming back from a New Year's Eve party. He was driving. It was dark. It was late. He was drunk, and I fell asleep. He pulled up on the bridge. All I saw was the moon and the rippling of the water. And he punched me in my face in the car and said, bitch, wake up. I hope I could curse. I'm sorry. He said, bitch, wake up. You're going to die tonight. And he dragged me out the car. I was screaming. So initially when he hit me, somebody hit you and you sleep, your initial reaction is like, and he's pulling you and he's dragging you. And he said, die, bitch, you're going to die. And so I was holding on to the bridge. And by that time, my baby was probably only about 2 months old during that time. And he was like, bitch, you're going to die tonight. You're going to die. And as I was hanging from the bridge, he was stomping my feet, saying, die, die. And I said, Lord, please don't let me die. Please, God, don't let me die. I said, I got a baby. I got 2 babies. Please don't let me die, Lord. If you don't let me die, Lord, I promise you I will serve you. Please don't let me die. And then a cop car pulled up. He jumped in his car and ran. I was still hanging from the bridge. And a hand reached out, the cop's hand, and pulled me up from the bridge and pulled me just over the bridge. And I fell to my knees and I cried. And when I looked up, the cop car was gone. And see, I never believed in angels before. I would hear people talk about angels, an angel this. And even though the Bible talks about angels, I still, for me, just couldn't fathom about angels. But that was the day I believed in angels. That was the day.
And that love gave you what you needed.
Yes.
What a blessing. So let me ask you this. Thank you so much for sharing that, Valerie. I appreciate your authenticity and for letting us into your life like that. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you survived. I really am, because it always doesn't work out like that, does it?
No,
so we know that you're married now, happily married. And I wanted to ask you, now that you're married, this is a double question. Okay, because I remember I said we were going to put a pin in submission. I'd like to know, what do you know now to be the truth of what submission is? Because people get trapped in that. That's why I want to ask you that question. And then I'm also going to ask you, at what time did you believe you were healed and ready to be married again? So tell me. Yes, baby.
Before you go there, there's some questions that I want her to bring out. Some questions I want to ask. I want you to ask her, so we can bring out.
You ask her. Because because you told me to go the way I wanted to, so I'm working it.
Okay, so
go ahead. You go ahead.
Was this your first marriage?
Yes, that was my first marriage.
Okay, so in the experience of your first marriage, can you, if you don't mind, sharing with us some of the things that occurred in that marriage, and then you went on to marry again before this gentleman, or this is the third marriage or your second marriage?
This is my second marriage now.
Okay. So can you share with us what happened in your relationship? What was your experiences, so people can understand why you have so much knowledge and why you went from where you were to where you are today in order to be able to create a foundation and speak. Because like a drug addict, I can't tell a drug addict nothing because I ain't never been through nothing. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what makes you that person that can share and that can lead and support other people?
Well, for me, when I first met the gentleman, my ex-husband, during that time, I came here broken because I was in a previous relationship in Jersey. And I left that relationship because I loved him. And that was probably like my really true love at that time. So when I came here, I was broken, but I still was looking for love. So when I got here, that's when I met my ex-husband. And I met him at a park. I was a broken woman, scorned, abused, but I was still looking for love. And so when I was looking for love during that time, I was very vulnerable. And so sometimes for vulnerability, you accept and receive anything and everything because you're vulnerable and open and you just want to heal that wound. And so I needed a wound to be healed. And so he was the guy that came, the gentleman that came. He was funny. He was exciting. You know, he made me laugh. And, you know, I was really wanting to laugh. I just really wanted to have some excitement because I was really hurt. And during that time, he put on his best forward. He was dark skinned, pretty teeth. I'm a sucker for pretty teeth, chocolate. And that's what started to woo me, you know. And I always say, and when I think about, you know, when I met him and the things that I went through, I put a smile that could have killed because my weakness was that smile. And so I realized that smile was going to be the deadly trap that would try to kill me. And so we got into the relationship and he was funny, exciting, and he wanted to spend time with me. And the relationship in the beginning, it was all fun and good because, you know, he made people laugh. When we go out, people would laugh and they say, oh, he's so crazy. He's so funny. You know, you probably laugh all day. And so after we started talking, he would call me all the time. And we would talk. And I was like, man, he calls me an awful lot. And so after we were talking on the phone, then he wanted to go out. Well, at the time, I still didn't feel comfortable going to his house to eat. I said, well, we could go in public. So we started going out in public. So he called me and he was texting me. And he called me and he was texting me. So I didn't respond to his texts. And so he was like, he called and then I finally answered. I said, well, let me just answer to see what he wants. And he was like, I've been calling you, I'm texting you, I miss hearing your voice. I'm at work and I wanted to hear your voice. Well, sign one. I didn't think that was a trigger sign. I just thought that was cute. That he missed me, he just wanted to hear my voice. Well, a pattern started with that. I still didn't catch it. And then he started talking aggressively to me. He would start saying, you know what? I'm the best thing that God has ever given you. I'm a hard worker. I'm going to take care of your daughter. And during that time, my daughter was 8 years old, around 8, 9 years old. And I was like, oh, you know what? I said to myself, oh, you know what? Because I had heard a lot of guys were saying that they didn't want, you know, no woman really who had kids during that time, the guys that I was meeting during that time. And so I started thinking, you know what? Well, this is a blessing, you know, in disguise. And so we still, as we was going through the process, we were still dating. And he started with more signs. He started taking me to work. He would pick me up from work. He would call me on my lunch break to make sure that I wasn't doing anything or talking to anybody during my lunchtime. He would talk to me the whole time during my lunch. When I had left work, he was already out there. I was in a financial abuse. I was in a mental abuse. I was a physical, emotional, and spiritual. People don't think you could be in a spiritual abuse. because he was throwing that Bible in my face. He was very good in knowing the word. He was very good in knowing the word, but
That
not
happens
living
often.
by it.
That's right.
And so he started using that. So when I would get paid, he would take my check. And then he would just give me enough money for me to do whatever. Then it came to the point where he didn't want me to go to my aunt's house.
And now, like, just to make sure, because you mentioned that before. Now you have you have two daughters then?
Yes, I had two daughters then.
So you had the one, and then you had the baby.
One, and then I had the baby.
You had the baby. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that we have the foundation from your first marriage, let's go back to what you've learned, especially being married to someone who used the Bible to abuse you, to mentally abuse you, right? Mm-hmm. Now, did you go back and learn about what submission it really is, with what God really says about it? Can you share that? And when did you know that you were healed and ready to move on to be married again?
Well, it took me a long time, and I'm going to be honest with you. When I remarried again, I still wasn't totally healed.
Okay.
I still wasn't totally healed when I remarried, but I didn't rush it. I didn't rush to get married, because during that time, I started going to church. And I mean, I really had got involved in church for real. And I really was reading the word and studying, and, I just needed healing, and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what resources to look. All I knew was to get on my knees and pray to God. And so I just started reading the word. And so submissiveness to me now with my husband now is respect, honoring him, loving him, and being by his side and supporting him. That is submissive to me. And I know that, by me being the God-fearing wife and living my life the way God wants me to live, it will help my husband. But I already knew the signs that I was not going to allow again to go into the new relationship. So I wanted to, for my second marriage, I wanted to meet his family, because I wanted to know where he was coming from, his friends.
You wanted to learn the fruit of his life, right?
Yes, I wanted to learn all that, because see, before I didn't. I just jumped all in it because of my emotions. I was hurt. I was looking for love. I was vulnerable. He's this. But the second time, I needed to know who I was marrying, or who I was getting ready to get involved with and start dating. Now, we had dated for 10 years, and he asked me to marry him twice in the 10 years. And I told him, no, you're not ready. Because I wanted to make sure.
You're speaking about your second husband now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure we're all following. Thank you.
He asked me twice, and I said, no, you're not ready. And I wanted to make sure that I was going to be ready and he was going to be ready, because mind you, I had two daughters. They had already experienced the violence and all that. They heard and they saw, and I didn't want to put them through that again. Now, my second husband, was it some things that he needed to work on? Absolutely. And did I see some different little triggers and tempers and stuff? Absolutely. And so I knew he needed to work on those things. But I also knew that I wasn't going to stick around long for that either. And so he understood, and he saw how devoted, to be honest, Vaughn and Nakia, I was going to church. I didn't care what he was doing at the time. I needed this for me. So I was going to church every Sunday. I was doing Bible study. I was so involved. I had my girls. I would see them praying. They would see me praying. I would pray with them. And so I was trying to heal myself. I was trying to get myself together. And I said, Lord, if he sees me, then maybe he'll follow. And so then he started noticing. And so he was like, you know what? I want to go to Bible study with you. And I said, oh, okay. And so he started coming to church with me. And I had made a decision. You had to get yourself together in order for me to marry you, because I wasn't going to do that again. Mm-hmm. And so he finally got himself together. And so I learned to respect him. I learned to be by his side. I told him, I am your helpmate. I am not your homeboy. I am not your abuser. I'm not, you're going to talk to me any old kind of way and doing all those things. I am your helpmate. So you're going to love me like you love Christ. Bottom line. And so that's what I had to do. But I'm still in the healing process still.
That is awesome. That is so profound.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate you being honest enough to say that, I wasn't healed yet. That's real talk. I think it's a journey anyway. I don't think it's a destination. Yes. Okay. So we're going to play one little more commercial. Then we're going to come back with some thoughts from Nakia and from Valerie. And we'll be closing the show out. It went by so fast, didn't it? So being that it is a show about overcoming abuse, then we have a little something from me. I never showed this information on the show. I don't know why, but we're showing it tonight. So here we go. Take a look, everybody.
To expose yourself in this manner, to be as revealing as you are in this book, you have pulled the covers back off your behind.
My grandmother told me, you have to be careful what you put in your body, baby. I don't care if it's food or a penis. You got to watch it. She said penis! I'm just, okay.
That is what she had grown to learn from the world. How could she expect a man to treat her like a queen when she wasn't treating herself like one?
Or if somebody you love a whole lot, somebody does something to them, oh, you got courage because you love them. And you'll stop it. You'll stop something from happening to them. Well, we got to feel that way about ourselves.
It's like through the entire book, I was like, oh my God, I went through that. Oh my God, she gave a response or dropped a nugget to help me really find answers to the things that I had to face.
Address the situation and don't pull out the Bible and start making the pages rain on their head. You are the church.
That's
God
right.
is using you right at that moment. You are his representative. And your love is the most important thing that person needs right then.
It was just raw and unfiltered, and it was an elevated type of transparency. And then you connected it to the dear sis part. It was like you were literally like talking to me on decision making with relationships.
Sometimes people have to be strong for you because you just can't be strong on your own.
Love this book. Love the non-traditional approach. It's more like a conversation, and it has biblical doctrine to back everything up. I love Vaughn's approach on how she brings her perspective on things that happened to her that was traumatic and stressful. And I highly recommend it for men and women alike. Definitely brought a lot of healing to my life for people who just need the love.
I don't know how I've been a single mother for 20 years and I haven't lost my mind. I do know I thank God for the people who came up with the hair dye.
For any woman who reads this book, they will be empowered. They will be inspired. They will learn to love themselves.
You are not alone. You deserve to be loved. You deserve the best. And you fearlessly treat yourself.
Hey. All right. Thank you so much, sis. That was awesome. And it is so relative to what it is that we're talking about today. And I really support my sis. And y'all know I gotta pull out the book. Hey!
Oh my God, I was on mute. I'm glad I looked down.
Make sure y'all go buy y'all book because it is phenomenal. And it's very transparent and it's very vulnerable and it's very honest. And you get your blessing out of it. So definitely go support her. Valerie, I want to bring out the fact that you did write a book as well. And it was a collaboration with about 20 other people, correct?
Yeah, about actually 40.
Oh, 40 other people. Awesome. So can you tell me, or do you have a cover of your book? Or you have the book available to just throw it up in the air and just be like, hey, I'm sorry.
Wait, did you say throw it up in the air?
I guess I caught off guard with that.
No, good. Oh, and we need a link to it so we can post it. I am a victor. Can you hold it up just a little bit more?
Look at that.
Oh,
Dr. Sherwood, presented by
beautiful.
Dr. Sherwood. Awesome. Because we definitely believe in supporting our guests and promoting their information and putting it out there. Valerie, another quick question. You are currently seeing a psychologist. Are you getting treatment? Are you having a support system around you? And if so, can you share that? Also, just acknowledge it basically. And when did you begin? How long after your experience did you start seeking treatment and support?
Well, yes, I am in a support group. I haven't seen like a doctor. I absolutely love the support group. And the reason why I like the support group, because it's other women who have experienced all different kind of domestic violence, but we're all there to support one another. And so I've been going right now to a support group for about 7 years. And so I absolutely love it. And so I'm going to continue to do, attending the support group, because it's so important, talking to someone, a support group, whoever you feel comfortable with. I do have supportive friends. I have a sisterhood of friends, a brotherhood of friends, my sisterhood of girlfriends. They are very supportive. And so I can always talk to them, and there's no judgment. And, I'm amazed of what I've learned from them, where they may know people, who are in abusive. So it's always so important that you can share and talk to somebody that, absolutely can help. So I do recommend, I will keep going. And I can't put no timetable on when I will stop until I feel as though I'm completely healed. And that could be whenever, I could be 60, I'm 54. And so I could be 70, 80 years old and still going to the support group. I think
you look good, honey.
Thank you.
I would have never said 54. I would have never guessed that. And about how many years were you in that experience? From what age to when did it end? 5, 10 years?
Probably, it was about 20 years ago from when I was in it. So I was in the abuse for at least 3 years, and it was horrible 3 years. And so even from 20 years or so ago, since it happened, and I'm still healing, and still seeking counsel, and still have triggers from time to time. And so it's been that long ago, and that's how long it's been.
Thank you so very much for that, because I'm just trying to get people to see the perspective, see the it doesn't happen overnight, and you don't heal overnight. Sometimes it can take a lifetime. So you also do, we have your contact information. You also do plays and skits, videos. And I would like to just have you touch on that right quick, so we can make sure that, because I saw some of your stuff, I was like, whoa, hold up. I was like, wait. So that was deep. Took me back. I was like, wait, trigger. So yeah.
Yes. The skits and plays that I have is on my website. You don't have to crawl alone in silence. You can just click on short films. And like I said, my brotherhood and sisterhood, we did those skits. Some of it is pertaining part of my life, but it's also to bring awareness for you to know the signs. And so I wanted to bring it as real as possible so people can actually see it and feel it and recognize it. And so you can go to my website.
Thank you so much. One sentence that you would like to leave people with after having this conversation with us. What advice can you give that you believe will be the beginning of the rest of their lives? One sentence. And it could be a hindsight 2020, whatever it is, one sentence.
Love yourself first.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. Don't jump off the screen. Vaughn is going to take you out in just a second, but we are definitely going to close this up. It is 10 o'clock. We want to thank each and every person that tuned in, whether right now, share it out. You know, you can heal somebody, love somebody, touch somebody, bless somebody. Don't leave us. Refresh your screen at about 10:15. Von Greta, I, and Slappy Pain is gonna be on the after the show after party. Valerie, you are free to stick around for a while if you want to. You can join us if you want to. Awesome. And you know, this is the time that we let our hair down and we share as well. But thank you so very much. Thank you for the artists. Thank you, Vaughn, for sharing your book and information on this particular episode. I think everything was just perfect. That's all for tonight. Stay tuned for the next episode 22 of the Real and Raw Talk Show. Thanks for tuning in with me, Nakia Franklin, my sister Von Greta, and our beautiful guest, Miss Valerie Lewis. See you till next time.
Very beautiful. Good night.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Von Greta. Remember to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel today. A special thanks to our guests, sponsors, and audience members. We are grateful for your support of our programming. If you would like to be a guest or sponsor of one of our shows, please email us at info.realrawtalkshow@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. This has been a Wisdom Entertainment production in association with Social Integration. The views and opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Von Greta. Any content provided are opinions and do not intend to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. Stay connected and join us for our next conversation where there are no boundaries and no judgments.